Today's review is the Makita 3710 trim router. So this is their corded 530 watt trim router. The 3710, which is this model, goes 30,000 RPMs. So this has a 6mm collet on it. And one thing I want to say, the 6mm collet is not compatible with 1/4 inch or 6.35mm shanks. You have to get the 6mm shank. And these were the only bits that I could find that weren't like 80 bucks a bit with the 6mm shank. I didn't look a lot, but I'm sure that if you looked you could find 6mm shanks. And also this little kit here has every bit that I'd ever want to use in this router. But don't buy this thinking that you can put your standard 1/4 inch bits in it. It might be different in North America where everything's imperial, I'm not sure, but here in France it's only a 6mm collet. Now you might be able to get a 6.35mm collet for it, I'm not sure, I haven't looked into that. But yeah, it comes from the factory with a 6mm collet, and you can only put 6mm bits in it. Now this is 530 watts, like I said, 2.3 amps. Has plenty of power. Like a trim router isn't supposed to be the most powerful router out there. Like, this is never going to be as strong as like a 1/2 inch 2000 watt router. But the trim router is great for like little bits like that, like routing out pockets for hinges, and it's good for, like, I use it mostly on the 6mm and 12mm or 10mm, whatever it is. I use it mostly on roundover bits, and also I sometimes use it for carving, and it's good for making little grooves and like roundovers and that kind of stuff. It's good for the small stuff, especially since you can hold it in one hand and just move it down the side of your wood. It's nice and compact. And this one actually has a ton of features on it, and I actually don't think it was designed as a trim router. It was designed as something you use along the edge of the table, because it comes with this thing. Now this thing just screws onto the bottom like that. I'll maybe demonstrate that in a few minutes. But anyway, has a lot of features. I have used the older model of this. I think it was the 3700. I don't know. I've used the older model of this, and it's a lot smaller. But the housing on the router is well built. It's PA6GF30. Don't know if you can see that. Well, whatever. It's PA6GF30, and then this is PC, and this overmolding is TPE, like all Makita tools. It's nice that there's no overmolding on the tool, it's just on the base. So you have your on-off switch up here, and it's a nice switch too. Like, it's easy to get to, and it's just a flick switch rather than something that's a little harder to use. And then it has a nice cord. I like the cord on good tools because this one is nice and flexible. It's more rubbery rather than the cheap ones that are kind of like they come all crinked and then they aren't really flexible, whereas this one's nice and rubbery. The cord is a little short. It could be longer, but you can always put a longer cord on these things if you wanted. It has a nice end on it, well made. The brushes, if you want to change, if you need to change the brushes, it's just the old-fashioned type cap, so you don't have to take anything apart to get the brushes, to change the brushes. Now, the one slight complaint I have is that the cord comes out of the top, because I think they designed it for going along the edge of something. So the cord comes out of the top. It is a kind of inconvenient compared to the older model where it comes out of the side. I would prefer if it came out of the side, but it's okay. It's just it would be nice if it had come out of the side rather than the top. And like if it came out of, say, the side here, you could still use it along the edge of the table and it would be hanging down. But anyway, that's where the cord is, so that's where the cord is. But it is a nice cord. So then on this base, you have your depth adjustment here. I don't really use that because I always put the bit in a different length down here anyway. But it is good if you are, like, if you're measuring and you go, oh, I need to lower it a millimeter, you can just lower it a millimeter on here. So this one tightens it, and then this knob moves it up and down. I really like how there's that knob so that you aren't like trying to do that. You can, if you need to move it just a millimeter, you can just sort of carefully turn that. Then you tighten it up. And the overmolding is nice. Feels good in your hand, and it's easy to hold one-handed. Then here you have your knob for putting like your guides and stuff on. I'll demonstrate that later. Then one thing that's interesting about this base, you can turn it on an angle if you want. Then you can just turn it back to 90 degrees. And you could do any angle if you wanted. Now there is no gauge on it, so I don't know how you tell what angle you've put it on, but you can tip it if you want. I think there is a vacuum attachment because there's these two screws in here that I don't know what they're for, so I think that's for a vacuum attachment. It has a nice big base, like the base is a good size. It's not too big, but it's not too small, so it's easy to hold it square to the wood. It is nice how they put a see-through base, because on the older model I've used, the base isn't see-through, so it's very dark in here, whereas this one is a see-through base and it's got a nice big opening here so you can really see what you're doing. But yeah, overall I like this router. It's got a lot of power, like it can do stuff like this, but that's about as big as you're gonna want to go. But it can do it, and that is nice that it can do it. So yeah, it's a good router. It wasn't too expensive either. It was a good price. Now, you can get this as the 3710J, which comes with a Mac pack all properly kitted out, but I bought it just the 3710 and it came in a cardboard box. And then I customized a Mac pack for it. But yeah, it's a nice router, lots of power. The speed is good. Like I said, this is the 30,000 RPM router, which I think 30,000 RPM is the limit for most router bits. But once you start pushing it into the wood, it of course starts to bog down. But it does hold its speed quite well. Build quality, I think it's really well built. it's just two pieces, like this bottom bit is one piece and this top bit is another piece, and then it's just held together with 4 screws, which appear to be long screws. And actually it looks like there's there's 3 pieces. So there's this bottom piece, this middle piece, and then this top piece. But anyway, good build quality. There's no LED lights down in the base here, but I think this router predates LED lights. But if you're using it in a bright shop, you have no problem seeing what you're doing. It doesn't have a brake on the collet. You have to use 2 wrenches, which is fine. I actually kind of prefer that design to the ones where they have a button that you push to lock the spindle. So yeah, nice router, and I think I'll now demonstrate it working. This is the router that I used before. This is my dad's router. This one was made in November of 2004, and it is the 3700B. This one goes 28,000 RPMs, has 3.3 amps and 350 watts of power. This one goes 30,000 RPMs, 530 watts, and 2.3 amps of power. This one is definitely stronger than this one, but this one is a smaller tool. And you can see, build wise, they are very similar, although I prefer how the cord comes out the side of this one. But yeah, this was made in 2004, this one's made in 2018. So, what's that? 14 years between the two of them. But yeah, and you can see how this one's got a lot more space than this one to see what you're doing, and this one's a see-through base, whereas this one's a colored base. But yeah, they're both great routers, and because this one's such a nice router, that kind of encouraged me to buy this one. But yeah, if I was going to choose, I probably would, well, I'd probably buy both, but I would choose this one. Plus also this one's discontinued now. But anyway, both good routers. Just thought I'd show you what I'm kind of comparing this one to. Here's what you get in the box. You get the router, straight base, I think this is called an edge guide. Whatever this thing does, collet wrenches, 6mm router bit, edge guide, another edge guide, and if you get the 3710J model, it will come in a Mac pack with an insert to fit all these things. So first I'm going to demonstrate this guide. So you just, to put it on, it's this knob on the side, and you just slide it up and tighten this knob down. Then to move it, you loosen this knob off a little bit, and then this knob moves it forward and pulls it back. Now make sure that your router bit isn't going to be touching the guide. So I just have it sticking out a little bit. This is just a 6mm bit. Oh, yeah. So I'll show you now. That's how you use that one. Just show you here. See, that's what it does. Then to take it off, you just take it off. It is handy when you're for like making hinge pockets and stuff. This guide, this is just a parallel guide. So again, you just put it on there, and you just get it flush with the bottom. Tighten this knob up. Then to move it, this knob down here, you just move it back and forth. Make sure that it's square. So I'm now going to demonstrate using this base. I've never used this base before, but I want to show you how it works. So basically there I was just doing the same as what I could do with this. So I've angled the base just to show you how it works. I already tried it here a bit. It's basically just cutting a groove. This is the round over bit that I use the most.